And action.
Welcome to the Fit Society Better Together podcast. I'm here with MJ and Cassidy. Gentlemen, how are we?
What's up?
What's up, bros?
Not
Handsome
much.
fellers.
Just getting it on. Today's topic, I think we're going a little challenge based, something that you two have done, something I have not done, but multiple members in our community have done or are doing. I think multiple of our friends, whether in the gym or outside of the gym, have done this or are doing this. And it's pretty popular. So we're going to discuss it today. And that is the 75 Hard Challenge or program, 75 Hard program. So we'll stick with our typical format: 3 thoughts, 2 myths, 1 question, ask yourself, and an action. If one of you guys wants to kick us off, that would be delightful.
I'll let you go, MJ.
Okay. So maybe a quick, so you may or may not have heard of, like if you're listening right now, you may or may not know what we're talking about. Corey said it's a challenge over 75 days to identify the criteria of the challenge and where it came from. It came from, I believe the originator was Andy Frisella, was it not, Cass?
Yes, it is.
He's the CEO of a company called First Form, which is a supplement company. I first stumbled across or kind of introduced it to myself and Cass and people in the community and extending from after I was on a bachelor party extravaganza down in Texas. I was on the plane ride home and I said, listen, I need to change my ways. I was lackadaisical and got away from discipline and things like that. And I was looking for something and I went online and found this podcast about the 75 Hard thing. And it was the following 5 criteria was this for 75 days straight. Everybody, is for 75 days straight, 0 deviation. If you deviate or you fail to meet on any of these criteria, it is a start over. You do not pass go. It's not like, oh, it's okay, don't beat yourself up. It's literally an absolute type of a program. It's very extremist in nature. Yeah. The criteria for those listening is you got to work out every day for 75 days, twice a day. One of those workouts has to be outside, and I believe it's 45 minutes. That's what we did.
Yep,
so working out twice a day, every day, you have to drink 1 gallon of water. You have to read 10 pages of a personal development, growth-centered book a day. You have to take your picture every single day, and you have to follow a nutrition plan of your choosing every day. Am I missing something, Cass?
No alcohol or cheat meals.
That's right. Yeah. So in the nutrition part, again, 0 deviation, no cheating, and no alcohol.
Yeah. So you can't be like, okay, cool, I'm going to do 2,500 calories and then save up all your calories and just have ice cream that night. You can't do that. That's right. You got to eat clean.
Right. So for those listening, like, what the hell is that? That's what it is. The program in and of itself is, I think I used the word extremist. It's a rather extremist thing. I mean, to think about working out every day, first of all, for 75 days, but let alone twice a day. And then, oh, by the way, one has to be outside, regardless of elements, whether it's the winter, it's freezing cold where you're at, or the summer, it's 120 where we're at, you're doing it. And the whole idea behind it is that is first of all, you listen to it and you think about it, you're like, man, that's a very physically demanding challenge. And that is, you're going to get in the best shape of your life. And that's what that challenge is for. But as somebody that went through it and researched it a little bit and discussed it with Cass and then other members of the community, it really is, in my opinion, this is my thought on it, more of a mental challenge and geared towards, and with that impetus, knowing that by exuding the discipline that it would take to do this over 75 days, that you can change some habits, you can change yourself mentally, you can change yourself physically. Last week we were talking about grit. This is a very gritty type challenge. It's a grindy type challenge. It's a you're going to learn something about yourself one way or another type challenge. And so that's what it is. And I guess my 2 cents on it is, I think it serves a time and a place for everybody potentially based off of what you're looking to get at it. I think if you're somebody that really wants to challenge yourself and grow in a mental capacity on a discipline level, I think this is an incredible litmus stick to be able to test yourself on that, and grow in that capacity. There's different ways. I want to do this just to do it and say I did. There's people that go, I really do want to physically change my body, and I'm going to need some extreme type shit to get me to do that. There's all these different things or goals that people want out of it. I think mine at the time, and this is why this is my thought on it. Mine was like, I was in a funk a little bit between working out, between discipline, feeling a little lethargic. And I just wanted a reset, and I'm an extremist by nature. So that resonated in me. I remember getting halfway through the podcast saying, oh, fuck, this sucks. And it sucks was like, I'm going to do this. Now I know I'm going to do this, and my life's going to be shitty for the next 75 freaking days. And then I was like, you know what? I ain't doing this shit by myself. I'm going to grab my freaking number one pal, and I'm going to bring his ass in it too. And he's brought about 10, 15, 20 people since then too. So, for me at that time in my life, I wanted a mental jumpstart. I wanted to reinstill some discipline. I wanted to get gritty and grimy. And again, I think last week, Cassie referenced me and his thing on grit. Like, that's my nature. That's where I feel like I do my best work and become my best self. Other people look at it and go, thanks, but no thanks. So, my thing is time and a place for a mental discipline result to be had.
Right. And yeah, thanks for bringing me down that path. So appreciate that. But yeah, when you said it, it was funny because again, we just came from a long weekend of debauchery, and I was like, yeah, I need this badly, and so I kind of said yes, not knowing what I was really getting into, and so the next morning I took a walk and listened to the podcast, and there's a lot of doom and gloom when you listen to it. Originally, it's like 10,000 people have tried it, only X amount of people have finished, all this stuff where it's like, whoa, this is almost not to be had, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. And so, going into it that time, I was like you, like, I needed a reset. I needed something, and I'm fairly extreme on certain things too. So I jumped in and tried. And when we looked at the dates, I was looking at all the stuff that I would be missing. And so it was Halloween, going into our favorite time of year, going into the holidays. So we would be missing Thanksgiving. And then we ended up finishing on, I think it was Christmas Eve, wasn't it?
Yeah, Christmas Eve day was our last. Yeah.
We had to finish that day. We had to go to bed that night, wake up the next morning, we were ready to roll. We could do whatever we want. We finished. So, it was, the timing of it was a little bit of a challenge because of that. But once you get going, and this is something that was really kind of eye-opening to me, is that just like you said earlier, MJ, the physical part was easy in the beginning. I actually liked it a lot. Like, it was, I was able to do 2 workouts, changing things up a little bit. That's when I really started doing a lot of walking and listening to podcasts. Drinking the water wasn't really that much of a challenge. But there were some other things that I thought would be easy that ended up being more mentally challenging than anything. And one of them was the reading. You go through a day of grinding, doing your work, doing a hard workout one time, and then doing an easy workout, maybe doing something like a walk, and then just finding the dang time. There are times at, midnight, I'd sit down and go, oh, I haven't read yet. And you'd open that book and you're reading the same page over and over again, because brutal. You just have to fight and get through it and know that if I don't do this, I've got to start over again. And so you make yourself do that, because day 58, when I'm sitting in bed at, 1 o'clock in the morning going, I just need to read 10 pages. How hard is it to read 10 pages? And my eyes feel like they have 15-pound dumbbells on both of them, and I can't keep them open. It's hard. And, but there was an end result that I wanted. And so I fought through it and got there. And so that to me was a big piece of it. I think I did it the first time purely to prove that I could do it. And then I don't know if we didn't say this, but I'm starting it again. I started it yesterday, and I'm not doing it to prove that I can do it. Now I want to get other disciplines out of it. And so that's why I'm going into it this time. But yeah, that's kind of that's my 2 cents or 45 cents, whatever money.
A lot of sense, dude. Makes
It is a lot of sense.
Lots of sense up there.
I have a lot less sense. I have not done it.
That's why you have more sense, because you haven't done it.
Yes, exactly. Here's why. I'll give my basic reasons. Number one, because I'm going to rattle off what people are going to consider about 12 excuses, which, sure, if you want to take them as that, take them as that. The very first one I'll give you, so you can't call the rest excuses, is just because I don't want to do it. Straight up, don't want to do it. Have zero desire, so I'm not going to. I totally agree that there's things in life that, like, if you don't want to do it, you should do it. There's things where you have to put your nose in the grindstone and do it anyways. Going back to our grit podcast that we talked about last week, this to me was one of those things that was not that. I did it. There was no reason that I had to do it. So I did it. Second reason is I'm a firefighter. Every third day I go to work, and there's times where I run calls nonstop, and there's times where for dinner they're making shepherd's pie, and that's that. Like, it's hard to control those things. Could I go in extra early and stay up super late and bring my own food? Yeah, sure. But then that I neglect things that I like about my job, which is fellowship at the dinner table, eating with the boys, working out with the boys, doing those things. Second reason is I would say confidently that I've done some pretty hard shit in my life before. So I've gone to a mental place where I've punished myself and done things where I was like, fuck, that was terrible. And I don't think I ever want to do that again, or I didn't know if I could do that. And I did do it. And then the third reason being, I am an extremist in certain aspects. I think my health and fitness isn't necessarily one of them. It's something I very much so enjoy. I like making small changes and seeing the effects of those. There's definitely times in my life where I've been like, I need to dial it in, and I changed multiple things at the same time. And I've even put dates on those, like, hey, for the next 30 days, am I going to drink alcohol, or whatever the case may be. This just seemed like a lot of criteria. I haven't had a strong desire to do it yet. And knowing that if I choose to do it, I'm pretty much setting myself up for failure. Like, I'm going in half-hearted to this extremely hard thing, and I'm going in half-hearted, and already I'm like, well, every third day of work and this and that, blah, blah. It's like, if I'm going to go in and do it, I need to be fully committed and have the correct mindset to do it. And I just haven't had that yet, and I haven't had a huge desire, so I haven't done it. I don't think that makes me a better or a worse person than anybody who has done it. I think it's just I'm probably hitting the listener area of, like, you don't necessarily have to do something insane to change your body or your mindset. Now, for a lot of people, it could very much so be that. Like, you do need a potent dose of a bunch of days in a row to make effect. Some people do, some people don't. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree.
I think we can wrap it off of that when we get to our question too. In the interim, we go to myths around this thing. And one at the forefront is that because of the extreme nature of it, both mentally and physically, that it's bad for you. That, like, why would you ever do that? We hear about things like, just if you look at the physical nature of it, right? One of the often misabused terms inside of our space that we hear all the time is like overtraining. Right? Like that's overtraining. We can't do legs 2 days in a row. We can't. How dare we do squats one day and deadlifts the next day? Like, what are we thinking? And the reality is it's just bullshit on that level. On that level, when it comes to overtraining, you're not overtraining. There's no listen. 1/10 of 1% of our population is overtraining, and they are extreme freaking athletes in extreme situations on the top tier, top 1% of 1%, then we'll talk about overtraining, right? But if you're an everyday gym goer working out 1 to 7 days a week, moving every single day, you're just fine. And to do a double dip on that, at least on a physical level, fine. You know, you're going to be just fine.
Now, granted, you're going to get tired. You know, you're going to be sore. There's going to be days that you're just like, wow, what have I done? You know, but you know, along the line of MJ's thought process there is that during that workout, you don't have to go to the extreme every single workout. You don't have to go 45 minutes just ham and going crazy and running at full speed and lifting heavy weights. And it's really just a workout. You can do something that is a light jog, a walk, a hike, a bicycle, swim, anything that's movement. You know, so that's the thing that I think that when I first started it kind of messed with me, because I was doing 2 workouts every day that were pretty intense. You know, one in the morning that was going to the gym, working out 45 minutes there. And then I'd go back at night at 5 or 6 p.m. And yes, I got tired. I got sore. I needed to take a little bit of a break. And so instead of doing that hard workout in the morning, that was when I just changed that to a walk, a 45-minute walk where I walk briskly. And I got kind of 2 things into it where I was able to listen to a podcast at the same time, which was just another personal side goal that I wanted. So there are ways of doing this that aren't quote unquote that extreme.
Right. And we have an extremist buddy of ours. But before I tell that, but with the extremity of the 45-minute thing, which I about punched him in the face one time about, which I'll tell you. But when I first told you about the challenge, Cass, you're like, yeah, no big deal. And then didn't you only think it was 1 workout a day?
Yes.
Yeah. And then I was like, bro, no, it's 2. And you're like, oh shit, game changer,
then,
you know?
And then you said one has to be outside. And I'm like,
game
oh, really?
changer.
Once a week outside? Yeah, that's no problem. Oh, once a week a day? You know,
every day.
Once a day outside.
Yeah.
Okay. I traveled to Montana in the middle of the winter during this thing. Yeah, this is gonna suck.
Yeah, I was in Seattle, like piss poor sleet and rain. Like, what am I doing? What led me to this point, right? And that's one of the beauties over 75 days. I think that's why there's no perfect time to start it, because you're going to run into a holiday or special occasion or event over 75 days versus like you can cheat little 30 days here and there. So you're going to do that, and you're going to be exposed to those elements wherever you're at in 75 days. But one of our buddies, to your point, Cass, of like the second workout doesn't have to be a 60-minute or a 45-minute AMRAP of freaking compounded high load, high weight movements. Is we were working out one day at the Fit, and one of our buddies, Jeremy McClymans, was like, hey, you're resting in between your sets. Does that count? Like, you're only going to work out 30 of the 45 minutes. And I was like, bro, you're missing it. You're missing the whole thing here while we're doing it. But he's like, it says 45 minutes, you know? So by the letter of the law, sure. But do you dedicate? And a whole bunch of this challenge, going back to the discipline, is all about like, can you make a promise to yourself and keep it? And what are you willing to do if you do that? And for me, in my personal development and growth, and knowing that I'm in a responsibility of leadership and leading others, I want to try my best to inspect what I expect, right? I know that if the plane goes down, man, I got to put my oxygen mask on first before I can help other people put their shit on. I got to shoot straight, you know? So for me, I wanted that part of the challenge of like, can I do this? And can I inspect in myself what I expect or tell other people to do when shit gets hard? That was a big impetus for me along my discipline journey. And again, why I did it. But I'll stop rambling about that, and you guys can talk about why this wouldn't necessarily be bad for you.
Yeah, I don't think it inherently, unless you're an idiot, which you guys have already discussed, right? Unless you're like, I'm going to do intermittent fasting, 1 meal a day, 500 calories, work out 2 times a day. One's going to be Brazilian jiu-jitsu for an hour. The other one's going to be CrossFit for an hour. Like, you're probably creating a recipe for you to screw yourself up. But you'd have to be pretty dumb to do that. So if you're listening, that was your plan, you're dumb. Don't do that. Other than that, I don't think inherently adding discipline with clear, defined guidelines to health and wellness could be a bad thing. The only thing you are doing is narrowing your focus and taking out the guesswork. It's very easy to make decisions when there's a clear line in the sand, when it's you have to work out twice a day for this amount of time. And then you sit there and you're tired and you're like, well, what if I like, it literally says right here, you have to work out twice a day. This is the time limit, one inside, one outside. Like there's no like, let me find the gray area in this. Like you said, Cassie, like save up my 2,500 calories, then eat, 1,700 calories in ice cream and have like a hamburger and be like, oh, I did it. That's only 2,500 calories. Like, right. When you have those clear defined lines, it's very easy to make progress, and it's very easy to shut off your like I feel bad for myself switch and just shut that off and get the work fucking done.
I love that. I love that thought process, because it is that you will get that. You're that little bug inside your head that goes, but what if we, and you don't. you have the directions. It's in this little tiny box. Yep. Stay in the box. There's no what if we, it's stay in the damn box, because it makes it easy, and you get to shut off that little bug, and it's gone. So it's definitely helpful if you put yourself in that mindset.
What about the other side of the coin, which is by doing 75 hard, success or failure, primarily success. Let's say you do it and I don't know what percentage. Do you guys remember what percentage of people complete it? I think it's like low percentile, singular percentile.
It's small.
Single digits. That it'll solve all of your problems forever and ever. Amen.
Yeah. So yeah, the second myth here being exactly that I do 75 hard and I am now super fit and healthy forever. And I think it's like anything. I think people get into it and they finish. I'm sure the people who finish it probably don't have the mindset of like, I'm good forever now. But if you're going into it thinking 75 hard is going to get me to a point in my life where after I'm done with this 75 hard and I like really whittle down and get everything done and get myself where I want to be, I can hit that cruise control button. And that cruise control button is called complacency. And I think we see it all sorts of places in our lives, whether it's the workplace, health and fitness, finances, whatever it may be. It's like you have this goal and you're like, as soon as I get to that goal, that's it. Like that's all the hard work. And from there, I'm just done. And I think what happens to people, especially in work, but 75 hard as well too, or health and fitness too, is they work so hard to get to this goal. And then they take all of the things that got them there, all of the discipline, all of the habits, all of the ways that they've structured their lives, the things they've cut out, the things they've added in, and they just go, okay, I'm here now. I could just go back to what I was doing and I'll just maintain that. And like, you're in for a rude awakening. 75 hard is a great stepping stone for you to learn about yourself, for you to create habits and discipline, for you to experience some true struggle and hardship. And then when you finish it, it's a great place for you to pull out some of those core values and core habits that you had and implement those into your life for a long time. Nobody's saying that you have to do 75 hard and now you have to work out 2 days, one inside, one outside for the rest of your life. But hopefully you'll add in some of those habits where you're like, I'm going to move every day, whether that's a walk. Like, I'm not going to have a day where I just wake up and I sit on the couch and I do absolutely nothing. Like, hopefully you move every day. So I think that's kind of where that goes.
The one thing that I thought about when you were talking there, Corey, is one thing 75 doesn't do for you is it doesn't replace your ability to choose. It doesn't replace the human characteristic, your God-given ability to exercise free will. Right? You still have that, whether you're in it or outside of it. And the idea is, like you said, as you go through it, you develop better habits or things you can pull from it for the reasons why you did it in the first place. Just like Cass, not only did I know I needed something like that, my question I asked myself was, can I really do it? Like, I know I can, because like you, I've gone through some really hard shit physically and mentally, and training at a high level through athletics and just going to weird, like, I knew I could if I really wanted to, but I'm like, I kind of like you, Corey, I was like, do I really want to? I don't really want to, but I know I need to. Yeah. And it was like being in a situation where you just have to walk that and go, what the heck do I want out of this thing, man? And a big part of mine at the end was, can I or can't I do it?
Yeah.
And that was, I think I gave myself a chance of like literally 10% at the beginning.
You did. And it was funny. I was, and that was a weird thing to me. And, you know, you and I have, you know, we've done some hard stuff, you know, both in athletic and even together, you know, we've done some, you know, some hard athletic stuff together. And, you know, we were, I think, I don't know, 15 or 20 days in, and you were like, dude, this sucks. And I was just like,
big bag of sucks.
Wait a second, dude, you can't say that, MJ. You know, you're the dude I'm supposed to be relying on here. And,
right.
you know, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, if he thinks it sucks, what am I doing here? You know? And so, you go through these waves, you know, when areas are a little bit more difficult than aren't, and you'll get a day where you wake up and you feel awesome. You're like, here we go, let's go grab the day. And then other days you wake up and you're like, wow, I'm getting my butt kicked here. So, but yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you how it really messes with you, but it also builds that confidence that, you know, like you said, I can do something that's very, very hard, very, you know, very rigid, and you can get through it.
So it's not, so I think the takeaway on both of them is it's not going to kill you, and it's not going to solve all your life problems.
Right.
Which leads us to the last question, and we can expand on the last question that will allow us to wrap it all up, which is, if you're listening, should I do 75 hard? Like, that's the question. Should I do 75 hard? Not a version of it. I would like, should I do 75 hard? Yes or no? And if not, what should I or shouldn't I do? Corey, what's your thought on it?
I guess my thought is you need to make sure that you're in a place, and you're probably never going to be in a perfect place, so don't use it as a cop out, but you need to make sure that you're in a place where you at least stand a shot. Like, if you're like, I just got a new job, my wife has just had twins, like, we're moving into a new house, I have to remodel it, and my car just broke. Like, yeah, you're like, probably don't do it, man. Like, you're an idiot. But if you're in a place where you're like, fundamentally, I need to make some changes in my life around health, nutrition, and mindset. I need a starting point because I'm kind of lost in this whole interweb world of all these things I can do. I need a starting point that kind of checks all three boxes, that has clear defined guidelines, start and end points. Then this is probably a really good option for you. It's set up to where nothing in each of the categories is too extreme that it's unattainable. But when you put all of them together, it's extremely challenging. But it provides the framework that you need to make truly, I mean, looking at your guys' before and after photos, when you guys had posted them, you guys made incredible changes physically. And both of you have talked about the mental changes that you had to make during those 75 days too, and how you came out as better people. So I think this is a great stepping stone or a great starting point for you to get that ball rolling. If you're in a funk, or if you're in a place where you're like, everything I've done or tried to do, I've quit, or like I haven't hung on to because I get confused, or try this other thing halfway through, I'm program hopping. Like, this is a good starting point for you.
And I totally agree with you on that. It's independently, these things aren't hard. Put them together, they're hard. And so, it's a great way to get to that area that you'd like to go to. The thing that I really enjoyed about it, and something that I never expected, were the people that followed not only me and MJ, but others, and that was something that was really cool. I posted a couple of things on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it was that, hey, I'm going to do this challenge. And I had people from like Texas, New York, Florida, Montana, Washington, just people I had no idea. I didn't even know who they were. And they private messaged me and asked, hey, do you have any tips on this? How do I do it? Where do I jump in? Where do I get the information from? I need something like this. And so without even trying to really get any type of followership, I got followership of people that just wanted to ask. And it was really neat being able to see a lady that was down in Texas who was really struggling with all of the, with weight and with being disciplined, and COVID came around and she, was mentally a little messed up with just, wow, I've been isolated for so long. I need something. And she and I just kind of formed a relationship, and where, I was able to express things to her that, hey, I'm on day 35. This is what's happening to me, and vice versa. She would say the same thing. Wow, I'm on day 15 and I'm feeling that myself. And so going back and forth, that was really, really fun. And it's something that, I think for a lot of people that need, just like you said, Corey, just need a little kick in the butt, try it, give it a run, but be in that mental state that I'm all in, not like, hey, I'm going to dip my toe in the water in this one. No, this is one that you've got to put your whole body in. You got to jump in full, both feet, and go for it. So I agree with you on that.
But to wrap it up, I think the question for me of should I go for it? Should I do 75 hard is an if then answer. What I mean by that is it's if I desire to grow on a level of mental strength, fortitude, endurance, and more specifically discipline, if that is something that I want and desire and I need that, then yes, 75 hard is a good method to help you achieve that for sure. I can tell you this, if, like Corey so candidly said, I don't have a desire to do this and I don't think I would get anything out of it, then you shouldn't do it. Because there's literally no purpose to do it. Right? Like, I mean, I had a very clear, definite chief aim. I VOPA'd my 75 hard before I even put VOPA together. I had clear objectives that I wanted to accomplish in doing it, and they really meant something to me, which was my why. And then we put, Cassidy, a strategy around doing that to make sure that these things would be done. Just like you, man. I found it very quickly. I cannot read at night. I can't do it. You're like, dude, do it at lunch. And you'd text me, did you read yet? I'm like, shit, because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get home after a 12, 14, 16-hour day. I'm going to sit there and bob and weave. And I almost lost like 3 fucking times, dude. Like, just because of that, it's like, am I ever going to learn? But what's really cool now is when I do my reading now, I don't even read at night anymore. That's something I took with me. And I have that at lunch, smashing my Chipotle reading. So, yeah. So, if then, I think is a good litmus to help you out of whether you should, and just know that this is one of many methods, but it lives in the space of mental endurance, mental discipline. You'll learn something about yourself. I'll tell you that right now. And if you need help in the discipline space, fuck, you'll get some. You get yourself some. So,
yeah. And again, I'll just real quick to wrap it up, both you and I have gone through it. So if, out of our 5 listeners out there, if any of you want tips, tricks, reasons why, those types of things, feel free to reach out to us, because there's a lot of things that, I just started again yesterday. I'm bringing along 2 guys here at work, one, our CFO and our controller. And I put a sign on their door saying, all right, November 14th is our end date. So get ready, and so, but there's a lot of tips and tricks I can help you with. And MJ, I'm sure can too, that just kind of help you get through it. And so feel free to reach out to us at any time. Please do.
Sweet. So send it, the way to contact us, info@fitsocietyaz.com, and we'll get it to where it needs to go. Yeah. And that's it. So guys, happy freaking hunting. See you a long time.
Adios.